Hey everyone, and welcome to From Waterloo to the Alamo. Today we're very excited to have Jason Black. He's one of the partners at Butler Pitch and Putt. We are going to talk today about this iconic, pretty much landmark, I feel like, in Austin since the 1950s. And we're going to talk about how Jason has tried to revitalize and revamp while also sustaining the history of, basically Butler Park. So anyway, we're so excited to have you here today. And we can just kind of jump right in. So
let's do this.
Yeah. Why don't you just go ahead and tell us, for people who are not Austinites, right? Like yourself, like me and you, we're both Austinites, right? Born and raised from here. I remember growing up and there's these landmarks in your head, right? When you're a little kid and you're driving by.
Top notch.
Yes. Top notch burgers. Hancock, right? Even Lions, golf course, right? Muni. So Butler Park is one of those, right?
That's right.
And really the pitch and putt's been around since the 50s. So why don't you tell us how y'all came to kind of get a hold of it and how you're revitalizing it?
Sure. Well, born and raised in Austin. Mm-hmm. So spent all my life here back when Austin was small, fun. North Lamar and Burnett Road were north-south.
Yeah.
Crazy. And I always like to tell people on 360, the bridge wasn't there.
Yeah.
That's where we used to shoot fireworks, which is nuts. But my dad was a coach here at Texas. He was a basketball coach. And so I was introduced to a guy named Harvey Pinnock, who became one of the famous teachers in the world. And he was my teacher. So that's how the golf seed was planted for me.
That's very cool.
And then, fast forward, I had a daughter. I drug her out to the golf course. Mm-hmm. For 12, 13 years, we are out there every day. That's awesome. Your dad likes to play golf.
Yes, yeah.
And, spending time with your kids, there's no better thing to do, especially, walking down the fairway.
It's really good because you can have like one-on-one conversations. It's not like tennis or pickleball or all these things where you're constantly competing. It is very much a mind game, but also a conversation game.
Yeah. So that was for me, it became kind of a life moment. I want to spend more time with my kid. I saw the power of golf, and I saw the power of golf with just really relationships, but more specifically, my relationship with my daughter. Mm-hmm. And it was just so magical that, part of it was, how can I help create something where other parents can find the same joy? And that was if we could
aha moment.
That was the aha moment. And so, certainly golf is a goofy sport. It's super expensive. If you suck, it's not going to be very fun.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I get it.
And so, most normal people aren't really getting introduced to the game. Mm-hmm. So you have this little 7-acre crown jewel right downtown. And, the jewel just need to be polished.
Right.
And so that was kind of I was walking Town Lake or something, and I walked over there and, and it was like, man, this would be the most phenomenal place for kids to learn the game of golf.
And how long ago was that?
Oh, Lord, that was probably 10 years before we got the contract for it.
Oh, wow.
So, I started then developing a relationship with the lady that ran it. It was been part of the Kinzer family for many years.
Yes.
And they ran it, did a great job. It was, I think, been in the family for like 70 years or something.
Yeah, it's. I think it was 1948?
Long time ago.
Long time.
Yeah. I mean, imagine having a rock quarry that close to downtown.
That's crazy to me.
So when I tried to partner with her, she didn't really want any partners. Mm-hmm. I respect that.
Yeah.
So, then I had to wait 7 years for her contract to basically expire with the city. And then it's a mad dash to fill out an RFP, submit it to the council, and you hope you get it.
Right. And you did.
We did. So we put together a great partnership. one of the original partners that's no longer involved is a guy named Lynn Shackelford. He's his claim to fame, and he played for the UCLA basketball team.
Oh, wow.
And won like 3 championships.
Oh, that's
And
crazy,
but he happened to also run par 3 golf courses.
Yeah, yeah.
So we partnered, and then we brought in New Waterloo. New Waterloo, they do a lot of hospitality in the food and restaurant and hotel business. So we put together a phenomenal package, and it was all about how can we reimagine Butler.
Oh, I love that. Reimagine Butler.
Reimagine it. I mean, it's the greatest piece of land in the greatest city. It's like, this could be something super special.
Yeah. And y'all really have done a great job so far making it, a place where people, like you said, want to come and learn to play golf, because like I come from a golf family. I always laugh. It's a prerequisite. If you wanted to marry into our family, you had to at least enjoy playing golf because every family vacation, you're going to be playing golf. But my brother, he played at the University of Texas golf. And then he also played at Baylor.
Wait, Baylor?
Yeah, he played at Baylor. I know. Don't say that, because I graduated from Baylor, so we can't talk Baylor.
All right.
But no, it was a great experience for him, but I remember he grew up going to those places, right? Yeah. He was very fortunate and blessed. He went to the IMG Academy and he did the whole gambit. But it is something that I often forget about, because my son, who's 5.5, he loves golf, and he's got the brain for golf. He's more of a slow processor, and I feel like golf is really, you have to really think through the game. It's such a mental sport. And I've been wanting to get him out, to go play more, but it's just so hard to take him to a full golf course.
Well, who in this day and age has 5 hours to go monkey around on a golf course?
Right.
I mean, we're also, spastic, and
right.
We've got 30 minutes, 40 minutes, an hour, but
right.
Freaking 5 hours.
I know. I always laugh every time my husband goes to play golf. I'm like, okay, so you're leaving at 8. You need to go warm up for an hour and a half. Then your tea time is not until, 9:30. Yeah. And then you have to have lunch. So then by the time you're home, and then you're tired. I'm like,
you got to have the 19th hole.
It's the full day event, right? But, every time it's always, hey, do you want to come with us? And I'm like, I don't want to spend 6 hours on a golf course, right? No. I grew up doing that, watching my brother, and I think I'm like a little, I don't want to do that anymore.
PTSD.
But I love the idea of the fact that like Butler Pitch and Putt is good for whether you're an incredible golfer, avid golfer, or you're just learning to play the sport. It is a great place. And it's not just where you can go and play. Y'all have other things there too for people if they want to eat. Right. So why don't you kind of expand on how you've reimagined Butler?
Well, I like to call Butler the people's course. And maybe a future logo would be like South Austin Country Club.
Yes. Oh, I love that.
Yeah, it's Butler's one of those places where there's billionaires.
Right.
And then there's line cooks.
Right.
It is the melting pot of Austin. And so, what are the pillars that make an experience fun and positive and all those things? So, obviously you got to price things affordable. Mm-hmm. You got to create the right vibe, make it laid back, make it comfortable, it's the anti-country club.
Right. A place where kids can come, and if they're having a meltdown, no one's looking at you and giving you the stink eye, right?
Yeah. And then, it's all about, you need to have, I'm a bit passionate about this, good grass. Mm-hmm. You need to have your greens good. Right. And maybe I'm a little bit, I've been jaded from my own play, but I think that people want to have an experience that's close to golf, and you don't want it, be putting over a bunch of weeds and stuff.
Right.
And that was when we started. That was one of the main focus. We put a couple $1 million in it, and it was really about how do we make this thing fun to play.
Right.
And so we probably spent $750 to $1 million just on turf and the subsurface of the greens, the irrigation, and everything. And then it's really about having a great team.
Right.
I'm not there day to day, but we've got a phenomenal team of people that are super passionate about delivering great positive customer experience.
Right.
And then, we really cater to every single demographic. Our ladies program, which is so cool. We've got, I think it's around 1,600 women are in our ladies program.
So is it a league?
It's on Tuesday nights.
Okay. And they just come out and they play?
They play. We have a sign up so we don't get all 1,600 at one time.
That would be a little, 1,600 women.
Well, they'd sell a lot of wine.
A lot of estrogen, right?
We wanted to ask you about what you do to attract both types of people. You said billionaires and line cooks.
Yeah.
But on that same note with women, what are you doing to get what is generically been kind of seen as a man's sport, to get a bunch of women to feel like this is the place where they can feel comfortable and want to do that? And same with the billionaires and the line cooks.
Well, I think it's more an example of kind of this post-pandemic thing where, we were all indoors for a couple of years and it's like, screw this. I need to get outside. I need some air. And that's made the entire space of golf just explode.
Yeah.
Every single golf place is at capacity.
Yeah. Well, because that was probably one of the only things that people could really
Dr. Fauci let us do.
Yeah. That was it. Yeah.
So, now the game is more popular amongst just the layperson. It's like, and it's partly just, I need to get outside. And that became a little bit of a new, really a byproduct of COVID. The other thing I think byproduct of COVID was the importance of relationships, people just spending time with friends and having that fellowship. And so, Butler became one of just another place where people could, go out and get outside and have fun.
Right.
The fact that we have golf, I think it gives them something to do.
Right.
Versus just sit and drink or listen to music.
Yeah.
So what's really cool about the ladies program is the vast majority of every single one of them did not know how to play.
Oh, that's very cool. Yeah.
So you talk about being able to grow the game and, just expose a sport to someone that doesn't know how to do it. But we did it in a really comfortable, safe environment where there's no judgment and no one's getting mad at them.
Because, I will say this. I always laughed because I was in high school. I went to a private school, but the coach thought that I needed to be on the golf team because, well, my brother played golf, so it must run in the family. And it
got good hands.
didn't really much. But I laughed because I came home and I think I had told my parents, I said, oh, I was so proud of myself. I shot a 129 or something. And they were like, Tracy, that's so bad. I did take a few of the holes. I got tired and I was like, I'm just going to take a 9 because that was the most you could take without actually playing the hole.
It's fair.
But I just remember I was so timid to go and practice we were members at Barton Creek Country Club. I was so timid to go practice there because I knew I wasn't good, right? And I think that was probably part of my problem was I never practiced because I was nervous or scared to. So I love that I love that there's an environment where anyone, whether you're male, female, you're a child, you can come and you can feel like this is a place for me to learn how to play this game because it really is such I think, a very important sport to be able to play because, like you said, it's something you do with family, something you do with your 80-year-old grandpa. It is something you do for business partners. I just think it's an important sport for people to actually know how to play. So it's such a blessing that you guys have created a space.
Well, it's a cradle to grave sport.
Right. That is a fantastic way to describe it.
That's exactly what I was going to say. It's one of the few sports you can keep playing, I don't know that I could play basketball with my dad today,
Yeah.
He's in great shape for his 60s, but it's terrible on your knees. Guys in their 40s play basketball and get, terrible injuries and stuff. But golf is like when we can get the time in, that's what we'll go do to get outside.
One of the greatest pictures I had, I remember it so vividly. I saw maybe like a 3 or 4 year old kid, his dad, and then grandpa. And I remember them playing out there, running, and it's just the goosebumps I get of seeing that sport connecting those three generations. And, they're walking and spending time together. And that's, at the end of the day, life is short. We're all so busy that our heads are spinning. But to see three generations be able to spend quality time together, that's pretty powerful.
That's magical.
It
is very much a magical sport. I will say that.
Hey, I'm Brandon Sparks with Nautilus Lending. We're a full-service mortgage lender and brokerage based right here in Austin, Texas, but serving not just Texas, Florida, and Tennessee as well. One of the things we're really, really good at is creative financing, and it doesn't matter whether you're a first-time homebuyer or a seasoned investor. We have loan programs to facilitate everything legally possible. You can find out more about us at www.nautilus-lending.com. That's www.nautilus-lending.com.
And it's something that we start, especially with, kids, you give them, when they're 2 or 3, that little plastic golf, little golf club with the plastic ball, and they're just hitting the ball, all the time. And it is something that they start at a very young age. And I will say my son's actually...
Is he playing?
He's 5.5.
Perfect.
But he loves it.
Yeah.
And he's got a great swing already. So I'm like, I gotta take him. I gotta take him out I gotta take him out there because I feel like he would love that. And it would be a great place for me to take all 3 of my kids because I've got
some buddies and rip it.
Yeah, right? No, I love that.
We did a deal. This is probably the highlight of my Butler journey. We had, last summer, we did a junior program. We partnered with the Hannon Association, Steve Tremere, and then Scotty Sayers with Save Muni.
Yes.
And we wanted to do a little bit of a give back type program with the city. And Monday, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays, we basically offered free golf lessons. And so from 8 to 10 o'clock every Monday, we had some teaching pros out there, and the kids could either pay the green fee, and if they couldn't afford it, we would cover it for them.
Oh, that's awesome.
Over the period, I think it was like 7 or 8 weeks, we introduced golf to 70 different kids.
That is so cool.
And they get to go play. At the end of it, we had a great kind of celebration where there was a parent-child tournament at the end. So you see these little young bucks playing with their parents, and we're just planting a seed.
Yeah, no, that's amazing.
It's so fun.
I feel like though, y'all have had to have had some challenges with
every business
does. But would you mind expanding on some of those that you had to face with?
Look, any business you start, you're always going to have just roadblocks that you just kind of got to deal with.
Right.
I think that, one of the first things we had to do, and it's probably the most difficult part of running a golf thing, is just managing turf.
Right.
I mean, we had the big freeze, we had the snow, we had the water.
Yeah.
I mean, so any time that you're dealing with a live environment and grass, that's always something that just keeps you up. It's not something necessarily the customer gets to experience, but the thought is if you ever lose your turf, it's really going to impact business. So,
and turf is not cheap.
No, it's not. And it's just like a 3-year-old baby. It rains all day, and then it's like, okay, how do we treat the baby? We got to change its diaper.
Right.
So it's like, you can't water it too much. You can't let it dry. So you're always having to walk that fine line.
Right.
And it was really a skill that we didn't have inherent on the team.
Right.
But we've got some good partners, and we're on top of that now. Other challenges, surprisingly, we hadn't had a lot of problems with any of the people sleeping where they're not supposed to sleep.
Right.
That's been really relatively easy. Mm-hmm. Sometimes the neighbors in the past had gotten a little bit anxious. They weren't used to a 6X growth on their little park.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to ask too. Were there any challenges with, trying to save the park and preserve it? And
Not so much. I mean, the great thing about Austin and how they've set up a lot of stuff is it's a designated park. So it wasn't ever going to get turned into a shelter for folks. So I'm assuming it'll always be a park unless the council votes differently. But I believe that, all we are is just the shepherds of the land right now, just to see if we can make it incrementally better.
right.
Since it is the city's park, are you able to implement any technology? Like golf is a sport of technology. If you watch the PGA Tour, the ball trackers and like all the crazy stuff they have going on, I could imagine that line you have to walk with the grass. It'd be nice to be able to implement some different types of tech, but can you do that since it is a city park?
Oh, I mean, I think the city's really pleased with the changes we've made, and there are different parts of the city that are entrepreneurial, I suppose. We did put in it's kind of a betting cam on the 9th hole where people can wager if they make a hole in one or not, and it pays 50x your wager.
Oh, that's fun.
It's kind of cool. It's kind of fits the vibe of Butler.
Yeah.
We put in some lights, not traditional lights, but more, high-powered landscape lighting.
Right.
Mainly for safety purposes, but, we can do like night golf events with glow balls and such.
Oh, that's cool.
But from the technology, we don't have any like shot tracer or anything like that. A lot of guys do come with their phone and they can set it up to where the shot tracer is shown on there. There's a ton of videos of people playing it with
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was curious about like specifically like technology for what you were talking about for keeping it the turf and stuff. Like, what have y'all implemented anything that's?
No, I mean, there's, turf is on the surface really simple. It's all about irrigation and drainage, getting that water, that filter system done properly. And so we're often having to pull plugs, take turf out, and then you start replenishing it with sand. You cut it different directions, verticut, to get some of the grain out. I mean, it's just kind of, you're always having to tend to the turf.
Do you feel like you probably could install turf now after all of this? I feel like having to deal with
No.
it, you're like, I can do this myself now.
That's probably really a bad idea.
I know. I just,
I can't even grow hair on my head. I mean, how in
so
the
we
hell?
don't want you to install turf.
Well, I'm
yeah.
I'm not good at turf.
Well, like what are some of your strategies that you've implemented to, like you said, attract avid golfers and people who have never played the sport before? Because like I mentioned, I know y'all have some leagues, but why don't you expand a little bit on what y'all have done to implement that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it comes down to, can you get a group of people that want to go do something together? And so if you can find enough people that have something in common, can you bring them out to Butler and create fun around that?
Right.
So corporate leagues, that was something that we launched a year or two ago. And it was really about, can you find 6 or 7 guys from the same company that want to come play and then compete with other folks that work for a company? So, it's a little bit of a post-COVID deal where people in the corporate scene want to focus on mental health.
Right.
More people are working from home and such. So getting team members on the same company to spend quality time together, that's a value. So the corporate league piece has been real successful. Some of the ladies programs just on rinse and repeat. What we have had, which is really cool, is we'll get a lot of the local vendors that cater to women's products, whether it be clothes, whether it be, what kind of different types of alcohol. A lot of different CPG type companies will come and want to partner during the women's group. So it adds some extra value there.
Yeah.
But other than that, we got to be careful. The other fine line is, you create too many programs or too many corporate events, you potentially could, alienate some of your repeat customers.
Right. Well, and I think you guys have done such a good job, like you've touched on, about involving the community, right? And giving back to the community without just having a recreational facility, right? You talked about the golf lessons that y'all were offering. If people couldn't afford it, you covered it. Is there anything else y'all have done from a community standpoint that you feel like was epic, right? Or was really, beneficial?
One thing that we did, and this man is amazing, Tito. Mm-hmm. We did the Tito's Shorties Classic.
Oh, okay. So Tito's vodka.
Tito's vodka.
Oh, okay, cool. You said Tito, and I was like,
I don't know Tito.
I know Tito's with an S. Yeah. Okay,
well,
okay, cool. So y'all did something with him.
Yeah, we did something with him. And it was really he brought in 4 pros, PGA Tour players, and then they dress it up with different games. We're going on to our 4th year with him. But at the end of it, it was a match play kind of skins game where they're raising $350,000, $400,000 for charity. So that's pretty cool.
That is really, really cool.
And it was televised on the Golf Channel. So that's pretty
amazing. Cool. Oh my gosh. Okay, that is really cool.
So, and it was one of the most watched things on the Golf Channel, which is pretty cool, and on YouTube. So the result of all of that is we've had a lot of people put it on their to-do list when they come to Austin for their bachelor party, bachelorette party. Yeah. Staying downtown, it's like, oh, we got to go hit up this Butler thing.
Oh, that's so cool. That's so cool.
Yeah, the Tito's thing's a neat little give back.
And y'all raised quite a bit of money. That's pretty impressive.
I would put the raising on that more on Tito provided more money.
Right. But still, y'all created the vessel for them to do that. That's very cool.
It was a good collaboration.
Yeah. I'm sure you have tons of moments and favorite memories at the park, but is there one that stands out for you where you're like, man, this is something that I will never forget ever in my whole life? It'll be something I take to the grave.
Yeah, I touched on a little bit. I think of my why. Mm-hmm. My why is how do you get more kids? How do you get more kids swinging the club? Mm-hmm. And how do you get more kids and parents spending more quality time together?
Yeah.
So, I reflect on my time with my daughters out there before we really opened. There's so many different construction challenges, and I dragged my child out there. We had lots of irrigation issues, and just the two of us spending time in the freezing water trying to fix it.
Right.
And her running around playing in the water. And then, the seeing that grandpa, that 3 generations of families, that kind of gives you, it's a little bit of a goosebump moment, from an impact standpoint. It's seeing those kids, who knows if they'll ever keep playing golf after we taught them last summer, but it's just all about planting seeds.
Yeah.
And then, I think it's, when you look at the city of Austin and I think we've been a good shepherd of the property. Mm-hmm. I think that, the fact that people can go there and play golf and have a great experience for $15, $16.
That's amazing. Yeah.
What else can you do in Austin for $15, $16?
Well, and if you take a whole family, it's like, oh my goodness.
It's affordable.
It is affordable.
Now, I bought a ranch water the other day. I think it was like $12, $15 for one stupid drink.
I know, and you're going.
I should have brought a flask.
You should have. Oh, you gotta. We're not gonna do that. Yeah,
but
that is really cool though, and I think you've made a good point that I think golf gives you the gift of time, which I always hear. My daughter, she's going into 2nd grade, and she'll say this all the time: "Mommy, I haven't spent enough time with you." And I just love the picture you're painting.
Talk about a knife to the heart.
Oh, I know.
Oh,
it's like we did spend time together, but she wants that quality time, right? And I think you really are painting such a beautiful picture that golf does give you the gift of time, and that your motivation is, you want to build more relationships and also plant the seed of golf, something that has had a big impact on your life.
Well, if the seed gets planted, they can continue that seed can be nurtured for a lifetime.
Right.
My father, he passed away a couple years ago, but he played till he was 87 at Barton Creek.
Yeah.
This old codger. He didn't, he was terrible at golf.
Right.
His claim to fame was hunting golf balls, but he loved hanging out with his buddies.
Right.
And if you're in your 80s and such, having to swing and torque around, walk, what a great afternoon of exercise.
Right.
So Butler can also be this place for the older people to continue to stay in shape, to continue to maintain relationships and get outside. And,
Right.
It's not all the kids. And so, I think I would say golf extended my father's life because
Right.
it kept him active.
Right. No, and I
So
always
it's
say,
pretty cool.
what is it? If you don't move it, you lose it. Right. And so that's probably something that's why he left. He's lived for a long time.
Yeah.
Okay. So why don't you tell us a little bit about, do you have any future plans, like to either, I guess with Butler Pitch and Putt, and if you have any future plans on the horizon to do something elsewhere?
The good thing about Butler is we do have such a great team. I think the strategy there is just continue to incrementally improve Butler, continue to refine the customer experience, find little things that we can do to make the place better. And I think that our managers are really good. New Waterloo does a great job. And, and the city's been a great partner.
Yeah.
So there's not a ton of heavy lifting there we can do, because you also don't want to over commercialize it.
Right.
So you're walking that fine line. New stuff. I think you got to look at, can you do this in other places? Can you create other experiences where people can get outside, whether enjoy golf or just enjoy fellowship? And, that's certainly something that's on my top of mind. Looking at it from an entrepreneurial standpoint,
Right.
and saying, okay, can you commercialize something like this and do it at scale, do it in one location? So that's certainly on my mind.
Right. Yeah, for sure. So you have thoughts of maybe expanding into other locations?
I'm being a little vague
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's
I don't
good,
want to
though.
tip my hand.
Yeah. No, but that is great. I mean, I also think it's so unique, right? It is a very unique experience to have a place like Butler Pitch and Putt, right?
There's no other place in the
There's
world
no
like
other
it.
place in the world like it. And so you're creating an experience for people, and that's something that they're never going to forget. So, I mean, I think it would be a smart decision for you to expand in other places, but we won't talk much more on that. I just will give you my 2 cents on it. But what advice do you think you'd give somebody who was maybe want to start, whether it's, a new business for a recreational, facility similar to what, you're doing?
Look, there's, I think the one is you've got to have staying power, because nothing's quick.
Right.
Nothing's quick in any business.
Right.
I've
you were patient for what, 7 years?
Well, probably 10 years
10
before
years,
I
yeah.
received a penny of ROI on my.
Right.
I got the emotional ROI, but
Right.
nothing that really registered. My wife's like, "What in the world? You spend all this time up there, and there's nothing to show for it." And I was like, "Oh, geez, here we go again."
But it's time. It's like you said, it's those relationships and
yeah.
time, right?
It's so, you got to spend. I mean, first and foremost, I think that in order to be patient, in order to have that staying power, it has to mirror whatever the passions are.
Right.
I think there's not really a get rich quick type of scenario for most businesses.
Right.
I mean, certainly there's probably a few that have turned out that way. But in general, I think that, hey, find your passion, be patient, and, continue to kind of stay focused and to keep the dream alive, because there's plenty of times it's like, screw this, I'm wasting my time. And quite honestly, I could have spent 7 years on that and not had won the RFP.
Right.
So that would have been, it's like, oh, geez, I just wasted 7 years. But, you got to put yourself out there and be willing to take those risks in order to maybe have the opportunity to win something.
Right. Well, and I think y'all created such a robust plan of how you wanted Butler Pitch and Putt to be, right? You created it to where it was a one size fits all, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think that goes to, in any business, you having the right partners and picking your partners wisely.
Right.
And then figuring out what's the best way to package those things.
Right.
I mean, you got to look, Austin has changed since 70 years ago.
Right.
So we're at this inflection point where, unfortunately, possibly Butler did not keep up with the changes, that were going on. And like I said, they did a fantastic job in shepherding the park, but the city changed, the demographics changed, the needs of, the community changed. And I think we were just positioned to meet those changes with a product that probably resonated more with the parks department
Right.
than maybe what they've been doing.
Before.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, of course, before we wrap up, I want you to, if people who are listening, if they have never heard of Butler Pitch and Putt, if they want to come visit Austin, right?
Right.
Why don't you tell them just a little bit elevator pitch of what to expect when you show up? I drive up to Butler Pitch and Putt. What am I going to, what do I need to
Yeah. What's the
expect?
strategy?
Yeah.
Well, first off, if you don't play golf and you need to go try to just pick up a club, we have clubs.
Okay, I was going to say, does someone have to bring their clubs?
You got to have $1
Okay.
to rent one club.
Okay.
So if you want to have two clubs, you can pay, I think it's like $12, $13
Okay.
is the green fee, $1 for a club. So boom, you're out $15.
Right.
So once you get your clubs, then it's a function of how busy is it.
Right.
A drawback is that with success, we have become busy.
Right.
There are times where the wait is 2.5 hours.
And do y'all take reservations?
We've got the world's famous ball drop.
Okay.
You put your golf ball in this chute, and as people are tee off, they grab their ball and they're off to the races.
Okay.
And so on busy days, we have someone managing the chute.
Okay, got it.
But while they're there, we have the most amazing food truck and the hamburgers there. Michael Fotoget is our partner with our food.
Oh my gosh, and he's a James
the
Beard.
biscuit
Yeah,
guy.
he's a James Beard award winning for
Yeah, and the hamburgers there are epic. I had someone yesterday tell me like, "Oh my God, I went and had a hamburger. It's the most amazing thing."
Oh, that's awesome.
So people can hang out. We've got all kind of yard games that they can do. We got a great putting green. Got a couple TVs. Got some music. So
and would you go early in the morning? Like, when do y'all open? Like, would it be best to come right when y'all open?
Yeah, I mean, look, in the morning time at 8:00 is a great time to come.
Right, of course.
Mid-morning typically is a great time to come.
Right.
So yes, if you're looking to just get closer to playing and less waiting, that's
Right.
probably a good strategy.
And you say all ages, right?
I would, if they're 2 and 3 years old, I'd bring them out there.
Okay, I was about to say, I've got a 2.5-year-old. Can I bring her with the whole fam?
Yes. What's nice is because you've got all skills, the pace of play kind of works
Right.
really well.
Right.
And so it's kind of like going down Mopac at 30 miles an hour.
Right, right.
It just solves its own problem.
And how many holes?
9 holes.
9 holes. Okay.
Every hole is between 60 and 100 yards.
Okay.
So, like I said, you can be a really bad golfer and have a really good time.
Have a great time. And clearly you probably don't want to have a driver with that far of a range, or people usually use a wedge.
We had John Daly come out there and whack the ball. I think he hit it over Peter Pan. He may have been overserved or maybe not.
Who knows? Yeah. Oh, that's so
we don't
fun.
encourage that.
Yeah, of course not. So, and then how long do you think it would take for someone to show up, play nine holes, say just one individual person?
Yeah. I think if they come at the right time, if they can scoot around in, 40 minutes.
Got it.
I think it's sub an hour.
Right. Okay.
And, we've got great green complexes. We use zoysia grass. The more people that know about golf, it's like the greens are really good.
Yeah.
We've
No, that's
invested a lot
cool.
of money in that. And then,
Because a lot of, I will have to say, like a lot of, whether it's putt courses or this, like it's just, it's a putt course. We played the par, is it the par?
Putt? Peter Pan?
No. And we went to Pebble Beach and they opened up one of, I think it's a par
They've got like the punch bowl.
Yes.
And there is a par 3 course
Yes,
there.
par 3 course. And it was so much fun.
Yeah.
So like, that's what I'm like in my head envisioning in a way, because like, I think I was like, man, my kids would love this. So I can't believe I have not taken them to Butler.
You should
Pitch and
feel
Putt.
bad.
I know. I feel guilty now. Time, mommy. They only
I'm
want
going
to
to
spend
call
his
your
time.
2.5-year-old?
Yes.
I'm calling her
You
today.
call her today.
It's like, tell mommy we're
We
going
have
to play
to
golf.
go. No, we are definitely going to do it, because it just sounds like, I mean, you really have painted an incredible picture of what the experience would be like, but also not just for friends, fellowship, but like you said, golf gives you the gift of time. And that just like, it sounds so magical. I mean, don't you want to go play now, Travis?
Yeah.
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 He's like,
Well,
me and my
maybe-
wife are
So
going to go too.
I my dad didn't really start playing golf until he was an adult. I forget what age he really told me, but he was it was after I was born, so 30s or 40s. And then same thing with me. I'm terrible. I've not played very many times, but this past year, he and I have started playing together.
Nice.
And so that all started after I had already moved out of Austin. I live in Lockhart. So this wasn't on my radar when I lived in Austin, and it's definitely it's what you said earlier. It's hard to get out and play 18 holes sometimes, especially in Texas, where even if you get out at a time where it is comfortable in the morning, by the time you're done with a full 18 holes, par fours and maybe even a par 5 on the course, like it is uncomfortably, disgustingly hot.
Yeah.
So, the par 3, the get done in an hour-ish is very enticing.
I think
Yeah.
it works well with, this generation.
Right.
I mean, we're just all wired differently now than the old way it was. And really the way golf was set up, where you join and, dad goes to the 19th hole all day and mom stays at home. I think, we're just wired differently as households.
Right. For sure.
But I mean, I think that I would encourage everybody to give golf a try. I would encourage people that have children, go out there, go on a field trip, go grab a hamburger, and just see if you like it.
Yeah.
If you suck, you're welcome. Just keep coming
You're only out $15, and if you suck, then it's
well,
okay.
it's better than sucking and being out there for 5 hours.
I know. Well, and I mean, and there's nothing. People take golf seriously when you're on like a good golf course. They don't want to be waiting for someone who's hitting their ball left and right. Out in the not even.
And
on
there's
the
no
fairway.
dress code.
Yes, that's
I mean,
awesome.
we flip flops. You don't even have to wear a shirt. We encourage the women to, but we have plenty of guys.
This is Austin.
This is Austin.
No, that's great.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, you really have done an incredible job, and
It's
you
a
should
good
be
team.
so.
We have a good team.
Y'all should be really proud of yourself, because you really have painted such a magical picture of this place. So I think people are going to be excited to go and try it. If hopefully people who maybe have not known about it will now know more and want to go give it a try, because I think it sounds like a really good experience.
Here's a personal plug on my end. I mentioned earlier that my daughter and I went on this journey. Mm-hmm. She now plays golf at the University of Virginia. And
oh my gosh! So at UVA,
at
wow.
UVA, yeah. So it's been, you go full cycle. But during that time when she was learning, I had just so many parents ask me, how do I get my kid into the game of golf? Right. So I started a blog called My Little Golfers.
Oh, okay.
And it's all about games. It's all about how do you create content that a 4-year-old, 5-year-old, 6-year-old thinks is fun.
Right.
And so if parents are like, where do I start? If you're looking for some tidbits, I continue to pay $35 a month for this website.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody even goes to the thing anymore, but
I just pulled it up.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, you can share that with Tracy.
But that is so great. I love that. I mean, what age did your daughter start to play golf?
About a month or two after we got back from the hospital, I took the blanket out to the putting green at Austin Country Club, and she grew up there.
Of course, yeah.
And so I would take her every weekend I could.
That's awesome.
And we learned the game first, putting and chipping, just making it fun and games. And then, it just, like I said, it's that seed that continued to grow. And there were certainly some trying times where me being the parent that needs to let go a little bit, or
Right.
her being a little bit moody.
Right.
But yeah, she's an amazing child. And I think I always say golf kids are good kids.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
they learn a lot of how real life is, how to engage with other parents or other adults. They learn manners. They learned a lot of just solid core values.
Yeah, I feel like golf is kind of a mature sport, because I think, again, you have to be
Cerebral.
mentally
Yeah.
tough, right? And so I just think that it probably is very much a mature sport. So that's cool, but it's still you're never too young to start, which I'm thinking, oh, my daughter's
Well, you're
8.
gonna.
I'm going to make her start now too.
How
We'll
often
see.
are you playing?
Never.
Well, so maybe you should come out and join the ladies.
Yes,
league.
I was like, I need to come out. I need to bring all of my kids out there, because, even my husband, when he goes probably 3-4 months without playing golf, and then he gets invited to play golf, he's always like, oh, I haven't played. I'm going to be so bad. And so this is such a
stress.
great little, like, hey, go out there, hit the ball.
And who cares where it goes?
Yeah, who cares where it goes? But, like, get yourself back in the swing of things, and then maybe you'll have a little bit more confidence when you go out on the golf course. So,
Yeah, and most of the shots don't matter at
Yeah.
the end of the day anyway.
at the end of the day, yeah.
It's about the high fives.
No, and I love that in the experience for sure. Well, thank you so much, Jason. You were a delight, and you really have such a good outlook on life. And I think that's probably why y'all's business has done so well, because you really care about the core of what it's supposed to do, which is create the relationships, make it fun, and get everyone out on the golf course, no matter if you're a billionaire, or like you said, or a line chef. So
The billionaires need friends too.
yeah, that's very true. Well, thank you so much. We really appreciate it. Hopefully
much.
everyone that's listened today, go out to Butler Pitch and Putt and have a great time. So yeah.
This has been awesome.
Yes. Well, thank you. We really appreciate
And
it.
I look forward to you in the house with all those little minions running around.
Yes. Yeah. We're going to come out. I promise. Anyway,
Travis.
thanks for listening today.
Thanks.